All right, welcome to today's daily vlog. Today I'm going to talk about training logistics and training flow as a part of programming for teams, and even when you're talking about small groups as well. So the importance of flow to a session, whether it's personal training, whether it's small group, whether it's whole team, is essential to the quality. Not I guess to the quality of a product from a business standpoint, but also to the quality of the training that you get. And there's been times where I kind of overbook myself, and I'll get a lot of people in there trying to do a lot of different things, and I'll be a little bit scatterbrained, and the flow is totally messed up, right? Like I say, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this. I have an idea of like, okay, I wanted them to kind of work on sleds, and then I wanted these guys to work on like row or upper body, and a good variation would be like sled rows. And then I realize as I'm watching, the flow is messed up because guys are running into each other, guys are standing there, and it's the training environment is messed up because there's not a flow to it. It's not here, boom, here, boom, this, boom, this, boom. So, and I think that's like where the art form, I guess, to coaching comes in. Is whether it's you running a speed session, whether it's you running a agility session, whether it's you running a weight session, whatever it is, like the pairing the logistics of exercises in the sense of like, can you take a group of people and have someone move from one movement to another movement to another movement and have them continuously be moving in a flow. Now, this is in, I guess more of the group training and time constrained environment. And at the end of the day, time is always an issue. We can't be training athletes for, 2.5, 3 hours at a time, and because it's just not efficient, and we're getting diminishing returns at that point. So we need to find ways, we all have to find ways to accomplish what we want to accomplish. Kind of strip what we don't need to be there, or that doesn't need to be there, and make up a training plan that flows, in the sense that guys, they come in, and they're working, they're going through. And, that fits in very well with, like French contrast stuff, fits very well with, any type of complex, things like that, where there are exercises that are paired. I'm a very big fan of pairing, just because, individualizing the exercises, it just takes too long. Like, what I mean? You're not getting as much done. When you could be going back and forth. And it works well for a supersetting, whether you're talking about like bodybuilding or like the repetition method type of deal. It works well for power training, whether you're talking about dynamic effort method to some sort of power movement. And then whether you're talking about French contrast, or whether you're talking about contrasting between like sprinting and plyometrics. You just have to understand that there are times where like total rest is 100% needed and 100% okay. Maximal sprinting, 100% rest, chill. Above, really, I mean, for me, like I would say even above like 85 to 88% above that range of, the barbell movements, full rest. Like, you know what I mean? You need the energy. You need your PCR stores to be completely restored. When you start getting over top of that 85%, 90% mark, and you're trying to go, the fatigue might be too high. For you to actually be getting the benefits of whatever's going on or whatever you're trying to accomplish. So the reason this kind of comes up is, today I actually had the conversation like 2 or 3 times, because I had a plan written out for a group, and I kept changing the plan. So I had something written on paper, and I had this written before we started, right? So we had 3 groups. Each group had 40 minutes to do the lift. And within that, I had 3 sections. Each section had a main lift, and then it had 2 sub units to it, right? And what I had on the paper, I kept changing on the fly, and I had one of my assistants in the weight room come up, and they were like, hey, like why do you keep changing like the reps? Like, you know what I mean? Like, like, why are you doing this? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, shouldn't we stick to the plan? And the thing is, it's just as you're getting a feel for a room, like if you're running a session, you're getting a feel for something, and time's a constraint, and equipment might be a constraint, or whatever the constraints may be on you. You have to make decisions that are going to make the flow work. And so whether it's adding reps, taking away reps, adding maybe sets, like adding a round or something. So what I did today was, we were doing a reverse lunge, a single leg progression, and I had exercise paired with it. And on paper I said, hey, we're going to do 3 rounds. But as I'm checking the time, seeing how things are moving, on the fly, I made it saying, hey, we're going 4 rounds. And then on an exercise on a subunit of the 3rd section, I decided to add 5 reps or whatever we were doing. And like I said, I had, one of the assistants comes like, hey, like, why'd you change reps? Like, I was reading the paper, and like, that's not what you said. Like, I feel like you're like not, like, why'd you write the paper? Well, the paper is just my best guess about what's going to happen and how this thing's going to go down. But at the end of the day, in the moment, you got to get a feel for a room. You got to get a feel for how the training flow is going. And then you got to make a decision based upon that. And you have to use your best instincts. And at the end of the day, if those instincts, if you trust your instincts, then you made the right decision. You did what was best for your athletes at that time. So that's kind of like where that came from. And even in the sense of like, not just, in the moment, but from a programming standpoint, it's like, there's definitely like, things I would like to do with this group that I'm talking about. But again, the constraints that we have on us and the environment that we are in, and constraints aren't negative. It's just defining the environment in which you live in. They're not they don't allow for certain types of training to be done. You know what I mean? They don't allow for us to like push past 90% really ever, because we don't have the time to properly rest in between sets, so that we can be sure that we're getting proper rest and that we're not risking injury. So there's like a lot of things I would like to do in strength-wise that are like horizontal based, including like sled towing and horizontal jumping, horizontal bounding, and that's not something that can happen in this environment. It's just not. You know what I mean? So, but like we can get it in other places, and we work out a system where it is, it does get handled. It just doesn't get handled with being able to contrast with load, right? But that's just the environment in, and just because like I can't be mad at the fact that that's the environment I'm in. At the end of the day, it's like you have to program to the environment. The first thing you do when you write a program is you need to ask questions like, how much time do I have? How many people are there? What kind of equipment do I have? What the long-term timeline do I have? How many coaches or assistants do I have? Anything else that's like logistic in that? How many bands do I have? Like, how much weights do I have? Like, do we have rack pins? Do we not? Like those type of things you need to ask beforehand, because your program and what the direction you want to go in for adaptation-wise will start from there. You can't start from the exercise that you want to do and work backwards. You need to start with what you have and then work towards the exercises based upon what you have and what your goals are, and that'll shape the program itself. So that's kind of just what I'm talking about today. That's what happened, kind of came up. So if you're have any questions about that and maybe like what that looks like and how you can better like optimize the flow of your training, you know what to do. Hit me up. Have a good night.